Introduce you to Jean Michel Cousteau.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope everybody's okay and having a good time. And I don't know how many days you're going to be around to explore and discover and really find out that the ocean is what keeps us alive. And next time you drink a glass of water, you're drinking the ocean. If you go on top of a mountain because you want to go skiing, you're skiing on the ocean. And we need to keep in mind that as divers, we are the ambassadors who can go and report to our friends, our neighbors, our family, our decision makers, whether it's government or industries, and the fact that we are impacting that water system the way we treat it. And I keep saying, I know that our primary sense is vision. We're very emotional when we see a piece of plastic in the ocean, or when I find anywhere between 8 and 12 pieces of plastic in the stomach of a baby albatross, thousands of them that have not been able to fly and they die on the islands where they were born. And it's cigarette lighters, bottle tops, mascara, I can go on and on, toys and whatnot. We can change that. Obviously we can. But what about what we never talk about? What we don't see? Chemicals and heavy metals. And that's why I'm encouraging people, divers, to become ambassadors all over the planet, to share with their neighbors and their decision makers, people, friends, family, to create new industries. We're going to be able to catch all of that before it goes into the ocean. You take a tablet of aspirin because you have a headache. Well, where do you think that chemical goes? In the ocean. But we never talk about that. So there are huge opportunities today, and we're going to see little industries catching every rivers, wherever it is, big ones and small ones, and it's going to create not only work, but millions of new jobs. And we can recycle all that stuff. Talking about money. In nature, there's no waste. Everything is a resource. And there is a paradise on the planet still, in my opinion, and that is the country of Fiji. And I've been going there for 30 years. I call it the capital of the soft coral. There are more species of soft coral there than there are anywhere else. And then it's some of the best diving I've ever experienced. And I've been diving for 73 years. And I will never stop. I was there a week ago, and I will be back soon. Because I want to make sure I can share with decision makers more and more information in order to make sure we protect and do the best possible job. And because of, as you know, our emission of CO2, we are affecting the ocean, which has tremendous consequences. One of them is the temperature of the ocean is rising a little bit, which makes that the ocean is expanding a little bit, and that's why it's rising. And the acidification, which is affecting the calcium carbonate of these creatures there, not the soft one as much, and it decomposes them and they fall and they become just sand. So the protection we have along Florida and so on, all of that is in the process of disappearing because of the acidification. And the energy that is now in these waters all over the planet is much stronger, so when you have a storm or a hurricane, God, it just goes and it has some horrible consequences. Now, for me, Fiji has been such a very, very special place for 30 years that I fell in love with many parts of Fiji. And I'm glad that Fiji Airways has adopted me to be able to a voice. And I'm trying to communicate with the people who are flying Fiji Airways, whether it's articles in the magazines or little videos that you can watch when you're there. I want that to be made totally available for the visitors, and whether you go to Fiji or not, it doesn't matter. But as you know, Fiji Airways is connected to the United States, to Australia, New Zealand, and more to Asia, Hong Kong, and of course they go to the middle of the Pacific and many other islands. So I'm very, very dedicated to communicate to the people who are flying what's going on out there. So what I'd like to do is to go very quickly over these images and tell you a little bit about some of the problems we are facing, and also what I really believe we're going to succeed and make it, because the next generations are going to make much, much better decisions than we have made, that I have made when I was a kid. I was doing a lot of mistakes when I was a kid, but I didn't know, and I learned, and I can share a lot of that with the young people today, with our program, which we've created at Ocean Future Society, and you have brochures, you can take it, which allows any children to be members. I didn't want them to go, Mom, Dad, I need $25 to be a member. Membership is free for everybody. As a result of that, which I didn't know in this country, the United States, our members are totally protected legally. We cannot exchange it, give it away, or sell it because of children. And we have thousands of kids as members of organisms, not-for-profit. And that's what we were able to do, is to continue making shows much more what is needed today. And I had the pleasure of doing a lot of little shows in Fiji, which are on the Fiji Airways airplanes, and together with the articles. I just finished one yesterday, by the way, which we're going to send to the right people. So what I'd like to do is to, I love all of these, and these are some of the best diving destinations.
Do you need the help with the keyboard?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Right now, Viti and Mamanoka Islands, and it's an amazing place to dive. And Yasawa, very, very great destinations for diving. And then you have Vanuatu and Taviuni, which to me are the northern islands. It's absolutely fascinating, and spend a lot of time diving there when I can. And then, what I want to share with you is just adults and children and people.
I know a place where happiness lives, where it waves out from every corner and floats across every face. Under blue skies and clear water, it wanders free. Happiness lives here, because here it's not hunted, not chased, or pursued. You simply come here, and happiness will find you.
People all across the earth are experiencing the effects of climate change. Our weather is more extreme. Storms are getting stronger and more destructive. There are more frequent floods, larger hurricanes, bigger forest fires, increased coastal erosion, and the sea level is rising. The science is certain. Humans have accelerated the rising global temperatures through the burning of fossil fuels to generate electricity, drive our cars, and heat our homes. These processes release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere that trap heat and cause our global temperature to rise. 2016 was the hottest year ever recorded. The 12 warmest years on record have all occurred since 1998. Carbon dioxide levels are higher today than at any time during the last 800,000 years. In Alaska, people shared with me the changes they are seeing.
We've seen a lot of change as far as the ocean, the retreat of the main ice pack and the main ice pack breaking up, and we are facing some erosion problems due to the rising temperature of the ocean.
Oh, you know, everybody talks about global warming, but up here on the edge, well, you can really see it. You know, it's been a dramatic change in the last decade.
We're not seeing the ice year round like we used to. You know, so I believe the ice is melting.
You remember the ice all year long here?
Oh, yeah, I remember when I was a kid, the ice being up here all year round. We would lose the ice maybe for 2 or 3 months out of the year, and the ice would come back. But there's a few times where maybe the past 5 years, we've had open water all year round.
In early 2016, the strongest tropical cyclone in the southern hemisphere on record made landfall on islands in the Pacific with winds up to 190 miles an hour that killed many people and damaged tens of thousands of homes and caused billions of dollars in damages. NASA has reported that climate change contributed to the intensity of this cyclone. Rising sea levels means that our shorelines are eroding and that there will be more flooding, and many islanders will need to relocate to a new land once their islands are submerged. If our actions harm others, we must change our lifestyles to slow the effects of climate change. World leaders and prominent thinkers agree we all need to act now.
And so we have to make a concerted effort to put in place the different mechanisms that will help us to reach our objectives, and that we can limit at least the rise in temperatures to a reasonable level.
We have to protect this world, and we have a responsibility to hand this world over to the next generation, to our children and grandchildren, in better shape than we found it. So let's get our act together, everyone, and work together in order to improve our environment and to reduce greenhouse gases and to protect our future.
I mean, time is up. So therefore, my message is, let's inspire young people, first and foremost, to be radical thinkers, to go completely out of the box, to imagine what your parents will have even imagined. Go beyond the dreams of your parents. And if we give our children that degree of freedom, children, young at heart, young in age, but if you give the children of this earth the freedom to think so beyond everything, then I believe very quickly we'll have results.
Many of us here today is in recognition that the threat from climate change is real, urgent, serious, and is growing overnight. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is real. It is not a mere dream. Are you ready to face life without Earth? Have you contemplated what will happen if we ignore this reality? This nightmare? That is the core reason of us being here. It's time to take action as our theme depicts leadership, action, and COP23. Again, leadership, action, and COP23.
We must continue to invest in clean, renewable energy that does not emit carbon dioxide. And we need to create living shorelines that can help reduce flooding caused by climate change and rising seas. Climate change is the most critical issue humanity has ever faced. Future generations will either thank us or they will be very angry if we do not act fast enough to solve this imminent threat.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will, of course, open it for questions if you have any questions, but I want to emphasize the fact that this kid, Timothy, Fijian kid, 11 years old, was speaking at the closing of COP23 in Germany, where I was, and there were 500 people in the room. There were 90 countries represented, and Timothy spoke to us for 7 minutes and 50 seconds non-stop without reading anything, just telling us about what need to be done and is counting on us to make that happen. Little kid from Fiji who is telling us what we need to do. This is so exciting, and I have so much energy that he has passed on to me together with some other young people I've had the pleasure of meeting not very long ago. For example, in California, a young lady, 10 years old, who wants to help protect the ocean. And I remember when my father was a diver with us, he was constantly telling us, people protect what they love. And I kept telling my dad, Dad, how can you protect what you don't understand? And that's why the mission of Ocean Futures is protect the ocean and you protect yourself. And being able to share that with Fiji Airways in the shows that we present and the articles we can write on an ongoing basis. I believe we have an agreement for at least another 2 years. You know. But it's a privilege for me. And I can tell you, if there are questions, I'd love to answer those. And I will be in Poland in December, where the Prime Minister of Fiji, whom I've met several times, will go and pass on the baton to the new people responsible for COP24. So we're going to make it, but we have a lot of work to do, and communication is critical in a very, very positive way. Never point a finger. Even if we're having huge problems right now, we're talking about by the decision makers who don't believe in we having climate issues and so on. Remember, if you point a finger, there's 3 fingers pointing at you. So forget about that. Let's sit down with them. Let's try to reach them. They have a heart. They have families, they have children. And I can tell you, give you a quick little example. When I saw what was happening, and I did a 2-hour special on the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, in the middle of the Pacific, and I saw the amount of garbage, damage, killed creatures, whales, dolphins, sea lions, fishes, thousands and thousands of them. we filmed all of that, and the governor of the state of Hawaii was listening to what I had to share with her. Beautiful old lady, totally dedicated to the ocean, but she had never been where I was. She saw the film, and I said, could we ask President Bush? And she said, we'll try. And ultimately, we were able to present the show at the White House. And President Bush invited 50 people, and I had the pleasure and the honor of sitting next to his wife, who asked me questions nonstop. And at the end of the show, he said, Jean Michel, come and sit down next to me. And I had dinner with him. And he asked me questions nonstop during the entire dinner. I could never eat anything. But don't worry about that, because I asked a friend of mine who was sitting at another table and said, how was it? And he said, you didn't miss anything. So President Bush stood up, looked at all his guests, 50 people, and said, let's get it done. I'm using exactly the words he used. And I was going, what does that mean? Well, I'm happy to say that ultimately he decided to protect the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands. He's in the oil business. So we can convince those people by sitting down and not criticizing them, but finding solutions to make the bridge. And 2 years ago, President Obama went out there, and I was at a conference in Hawaii, and he came and he took a plane and he went and did the 1,200 miles up and down, and he multiplied what President Bush had done by 4. The largest marine protected area. Well, Democrats, Republicans, wonderful, you know, they agreed to protect our life support system, the ocean. So as divers, and if I was not a diver, maybe I could have never done that. But now, with Fiji Airways communicating to people, hopefully, hundreds of thousands of people who are flying the planes, and being able to communicate with people in other places is for me a fascinating privilege that I have. And my children are doing the same thing, our team is doing the same thing, and we're going to make it. We're going to make it, but it's a lot of work. Can we have questions, please?
What have they done?
You're throwing money away. And we have to keep that in mind. And there are people today that are starting to make money. I had the pleasure of being at a big conference in south of France just recently, where they're making cups now, which I use and cleaned it several times to know if it was real. It was made out of algae from the ocean, from the Mediterranean Sea. There's a lady in California, a young lady who blew my mind. One day she showed me, and I have it with me, not here, but at home. She's making straws out of kelp, the second fastest growing plant on the planet, up to 3 feet a day. Unbelievable. And most people don't realize we use those kelp all the time. In the lipstick that you use, in the toothpaste that you use, in the ice cream that you eat, because it takes care of the crystallization. And that's what's being used. So there are solutions. We're going to make it, but we need to be very creative, and I'm fascinated today to see this. And we're going to be there. And I was in Brazil, where there was a lot of garbage and plastic, and somebody, and our team was involved. We collected the garbage, and when you go into school over there, there was no paper because it rains all the time. Let's not forget that 1/5 of any of the fresh water that comes out of any landmass on the planet comes out of the Amazon. 1/5. And you can follow that water all the way in the Caribbean, along the United States coastline and all the way to England. And there are scientists who have done that. So what they do is to get that plastic now, and they make books out of the plastic. So now they have plastic books in the schools, and if it rains, it doesn't matter. And I've made a demonstration where I carry that book with me. I show it to people, we pour water on it, and I throw it in the ocean, or I throw it into the river, and it floats. So there are solutions, but we need to keep really coming up with ideas. We're getting there, and the Japanese can help a lot, and I can tell you, they were invading Fiji just a few days ago, or about 10 days ago, and I should say invading, but there was a group of 7 people who came, and they wanted to talk to me, and we had a very long conversation. I showed them images and so on, and they were so excited, they wanted me to go to Japan now, to share with them. Well, that's what every one of us can do, you know? So we're living a very exciting time. Another question? Oh, no, but I know Michelle's there.
We're really getting involved. We're really, really concerned. There's a little company that just came to us, woman operated. It's called Renewology Oceans. Check them out. 2 young gals. They want to clean up the river systems on the planet. They have a really great idea. And then through Global Citizens, check that group out. They started 7 years ago. Their first big premise was to eradicate poverty in 2030. And now they've just added plastics. I'm getting some, I'm not a scientist at all. I'm not a marine biologist. I do dive, I don't speak French. I'm from Seattle and I'm a liberal. In any case, the plastic synopsis is really, really important, and there's a lot of young people starting to do great things out of Global Citizens. There's some statistics on plastic particles, even to the extent, I'm a tea drinker. I expect that people like Starbucks and other natural tea, that the tea bags are okay. Well, the tea bags that are like, they look like they're silk and they're like triangles. Those are made out of plastic. They have tiny little filaments. I just got a huge statistic about just like the ice cream guys, Ben and Jerry, or somebody was doing how much sugar we ate all the time. Well, Global Citizens just came out with how much plastic particles each of us have in our body. We usually talk about what the fish have in their body. And so it's really striking. There's some good statistics on that. We're trying to get involved as much as we can, and everybody can, through some of these groups. So thank you very much. With the young people.
If you can send us a connection on our website, you have the brochure, I can see you have it in your hand. I would appreciate it. Darling, come here.
I don't usually do that, but I'm really passionate about this plastic
I know, but
thing.
I just want to finish by telling you that she and I were in French Polynesia underwater, and she put that on my finger. Ooh. 24 years ago.
And he put this one on my finger. And I wore them on my bikini, just like any great diver would do.
You have anything to say?
Diving in Fiji and the different islands, but if you want to go deep into it, come to the Tourism Fiji booth and meet with many of the resorts represented there, many of the islands, and find out about Fiji. The diving is absolutely awesome there. We're lucky that what's happening in the world has not hit us as much as the others. So there's beautiful diving, beautiful coral, beautiful fish, beautiful animal life, and most important, going there, you'll meet with the people in in my opinion, this is the main reason why anybody should go to Fiji. So come to the booth. You'll be able to talk to Jean Michel one-on-one. If you want an autograph, you'll be able to get one as well. We thank you for coming today, and we hope to see you down on the hole. Have a fabulous day.